In this video, we're going to take a look at the enemy uniforms that you will see most throughout the game. Those are not all the uniforms, there will be some exceptions like in the level in Cuba, as well as other levels where they're sort of special forces. But these are the standard Soviet army uniforms, and that is something that I was very particular about, because when you watch documentaries, when you watch movies or play games that take place during the Cold War and the Soviet Union times, I always felt like the uniforms are something that are visually striking, so it's an important point of world building, of visual appearance. And especially the officer uniforms, I think, is something that always looks very imposing, and so therefore it is quite an important topic. Now, at the same time, the uniforms is something that was probably the most annoying throughout the whole development process, believe me or not. Because it is something that seems so easy, and it's so to the point that you would think, well, you commission someone to model the uniforms and then you just go. No. It took almost a year to get it done. It took about 6 to 7 people, countless reworkings and countless different versions, because we had functional problems for a long time. Then we had some versions that visually were not up to par. And so it was a very annoying topic, and at the same time such an important topic. So I'm very glad we finally resolved this in the end, and now we're going to take a look at the uniform types. Basically, there are 3 kind of uniforms. First, we have the standard soldier uniform. As you can see in this presentation here, it is comprised of different elements. You have the basic pants, the boots, the jacket, you have a single belt, and then you have the arm patch, and you have the pilotka hat, as well as optional dual belts, optional ammo pouches, and all these sorts of things. And also, these uniforms can be transformed for different units and with different ranks, because something in Dangerous Connections is that, looking at the shoulder boards, they can be interchanged with different ranks. So it starts with the standard CA, which is Russian for Sovietsky Army, which is the Soviet army, of course, so this is a standard private. And it goes all throughout the ranks in the soldier ranks. Then there are different types of colors. So when they're red, that is standard infantry. Then you also have black, which corresponds to artillery. You have blue for either KGB or aviation, and so on and so forth. So those uniforms are very flexible, and in some parts there are different parts individually, so you can use them to be animated and to move independently. And then also, of course, always the hat is something that is separate, just in order to make sure that we can actually shoot it off also when they fall down at a certain speed, that the hat falls off and doesn't stick on like it's glued to the head. The second type of uniform is the winter uniform, the winter coats. So it starts with a base coat model. Underneath there are pants as well as boots, and here you have basically the same configuration that is possible. You have a standard single belt. You can put a double belt on it. There's also the shoulder belts which can be used, which is usually for more higher ranks. Again, you have the shoulder boards that can be interchanged with different ranks. And in Dangerous Connections, the different ranks will indicate how strong an enemy is. So a standard private will have relatively moderate shooting skills, not many tactics that he uses, and the higher they go up in rank, they will use a more tactical approach, they will be more accurate in shooting and so on. And last but not least, and probably my favorite of all the uniforms, is the officer's uniform. So this is basically your configuration. Also, there's an officer's jacket, you have pants tucked into the boots. There's also a version with the pants tucked out. Now, usually that's found more in the upper ranks of the officers, so generals and so on won't have many of these. So usually you will encounter this type of uniform as an enemy in a level. Then you have the officer shoulder belts. You have a holster with a pistol, either Makarov or Tokarev. Some also will use a map bag, which was often found with these uniforms. And again, different ranks indicated by the stars on the shoulder board. You have the arm patch, again giving away what unit they're in, and so on. So that's a quick look at the uniforms of the enemies that you will see in Dangerous Connections. Thank you very much for watching. Please do not forget, if you have not done so far, wish lists. Dangerous Connections on Steam and visit our homepage dangerous-connections.com.